My name is Ethan Walsh. I'm 32, live just outside of Vancouver, and I work as a senior architect for a mid-sized firm in the city. On paper, I'm doing all right. Good job, decent apartment, not a bad face in the mirror. But this is the story I've never told anyone. Not my best friend, not my therapist, not even my mother. I call it. Her eyes locked with mine, and she whispered, "Stay, just tonight." It started 3 years ago at a company retreat in Whistler. These things are always awkward. Endless icebreakers, PowerPoints dressed up as bonding sessions, overpriced drinks at the lodge bar. But that weekend changed everything. She was new, Julia Hart, transferred in from our London branch. She was tall, elegant in this distracted kind of way, like she was always halfway out the door mentally, emotionally. Her voice had this soft, smoky edge, like it had brushed too close to a flame once and never quite recovered. I remember the first time we spoke. She was standing by the fireplace in the lodge, wrapped in a charcoal shawl, staring at the snow falling outside like it owed her an explanation. "You always look this miserable? Or is it just corporate retreats that do it to you?" I asked, trying too hard to sound casual. She turned, didn't smile, but her lips curled like she considered it. "Only when someone tries to make me laugh when I'm clearly contemplating the end of the world." It wasn't love at first sight. It was recognition, like we both knew something about pain that most people didn't have words for. We spent hours that night talking. About architecture, sure, but also about books that made us cry, the loneliness of ambition, and the strange ache of being surrounded by people yet feeling completely unseen. Back in the city, we fell into an orbit. Lunch breaks turned into late-night calls. She started walking into my office without knocking. She left notes on my desk. Cryptic, poetic lines like, "Not all scaffolding is visible." I still don't know what some of them meant. There were moments we almost crossed a line, but didn't. A touch too long. A gaze that lingered in silence. Office romance was discouraged, of course, but it was more than that. There was something delicate about it. Like speaking it aloud would break it. Then one day, she disappeared. No explanation. No goodbye. Her desk was cleared by HR. I asked around, and all I got was, she requested a transfer. Said it was personal. I tried not to take it personally. I failed. I thought that was the end of it. Until 11 months later when I saw her again. It was a charity gala. My firm had a table. I didn't want to go, but my boss insisted. Said I needed to network more, brood less. She walked in halfway through the night, hair shorter now, dark red dress, alone. My heart did the stupid thing. Leapt like it didn't remember how she'd left. Our eyes met. She stopped. I stood. "Julia." "Ethan." Her voice still had that burnt velvet quality. "Didn't think I'd ever see you again," I said. She smiled this time, and it was tired. "Neither did I." We stepped outside, onto a terrace slick with rain. The city lights blinked behind her like a broken promise. "Why'd you leave?" I asked. No warning. No word. She didn't answer right away. She lit a cigarette, her hands shaking. "I was pregnant," she said finally, eyes fixed on the sky. "And I lost it 3 days before I transferred. I didn't know who to be after that. And I sure as hell didn't want to be that woman in the office everyone tiptoes around." I couldn't speak. My throat locked. "I never told you because we weren't anything, right?" she added softly. I stepped closer. "We were something." She looked up, eyes glassy. "Well, it didn't feel like enough to stay for. A beat, the kind that changes a life." Then she whispered, "I'm not asking for forever. I'm just asking you to stay. Just tonight." I did, and it wasn't just sex. It was this raw, aching kind of intimacy. The kind where silence says more than moans. The kind where you fall asleep with your hand still tangled in hers, as if letting go would undo you. The morning after, she was gone. Again. No note, no call. Just the faint smell of her perfume on my sheets, and a pair of earrings on the nightstand. That would have been cruel enough. But it got worse. The next week at work, I was pulled into a boardroom. 2 executives. HR. Apparently, a complaint had been filed. Inappropriate conduct with a former colleague. Anonymous, but heavily detailed. Julia's name was never mentioned. But the timing, the circumstances, I was suspended, pending review. I tried calling her. Nothing. I drove to the address I had from her personnel file. Gone. Like she'd been a ghost the whole time. I don't know why I'm telling this now. Maybe because I still don't know the truth. Maybe because I want someone to believe me that it wasn't manipulation. It was real. Felt real. Or maybe because years later when I saw her again, nothing about what came next made sense. I didn't see her again until last fall. It had been 2 years. I'd been reinstated, but the shadow of the HR investigation never fully lifted. Promotions stalled. Whispers followed me. I became that guy, the one with the incident. I thought I'd moved on. I dated, I traveled, I even started writing again, something I hadn't done since college. But I never stopped wondering if I had hallucinated her, if grief and longing had made her mythic. And then, there she was, Saturday morning, Granville Island Market. She was holding a small boy's hand. He couldn't have been more than 1.5 years, maybe 2. Same eyes, same nose. My stomach dropped. Julia. She turned around slowly, like hearing her name spoken out loud startled her. Ethan. A flicker of something passed across her face. Regret? Relief? Couldn't tell. We stood there, frozen among the tourists and buskers, until the boy tugged her sleeve. Is he? I started. No, she said quickly. He's not yours. I promise. The relief was instant, but it left behind something colder. An ache I didn't know was still alive inside me. He looks like you, I said, feeling stupid. He looks like his father, she said, who's not in the picture anymore. A pause. She added, do you want to get coffee? We sat on a bench near the water. Her son, Oliver, played with a plastic dinosaur between our feet. She told me she'd moved back last year. Quietly, working freelance, mostly from home. No drama, no big declarations. Just the quiet life. I wanted to ask, why didn't you tell me you were back? But I didn't. Instead, I asked something worse. Why did you file that complaint? She blinked. What? The HR thing. After the gala. Her face twisted. I didn't file anything. I stared at her. You didn't. No. Ethan, God, no. Why would you think I'd do that? Because who else would have known all the details? I have no idea. But it wasn't me. The air around us changed. The suspicion I'd buried, the betrayal I'd tried to swallow. It all came flooding back. And now, none of it made sense. Then she said something that chilled me. After that night, I was going to reach out. But 2 days later, I got a call from someone at your office. A woman. She told me to leave you alone. Said she was cleaning up your mess. I felt the ground tilt. What woman? I don't know. She never gave her name. But she sounded official. I didn't want to believe it. But my mind was already turning over the possibilities. There was only one person who'd always had access to my schedule, to Julia's HR file, to both of our inboxes, Madison, my executive assistant. She'd been with the firm 5 years. Efficient, loyal, a little cold, but brilliant. She'd also been the one to prep me before the HR meeting. Her exact words, "Don't fight it, Ethan. Just let it blow over. They want blood, not truth." I never questioned it. Until now. Later that night, I dug through old messages. I found a thread between Madison and HR dated just before my suspension. Flagged as confidential. Buried deep in the metadata of the email, her name showed up as the original sender. Not anonymous. Not someone from legal. Her. She'd set me up. And I remembered something else. One night, months before the gala, we were the last two in the office. I'd mentioned Julia, offhand, maybe too fondly, and Madison had said, "People like her don't stay, don't get attached." I thought she was warning me, but she was threatening me. I confronted her Monday morning. She didn't deny it. "Why?" I asked, barely holding back rage. She shrugged. "You were distracted. You were slipping." She was never going to be there for you. You had no right. I made your career, Ethan. I saved you from blowing it up. You sabotaged my life. I protected it. I walked out, filed a formal report. HR opened a quiet internal investigation, cleaned it up with a resignation package. Nothing public, just more silence, just more shadow. But Julia came back into my life. Slowly, carefully, we took walks with Oliver. We talked about therapy, about trust, about how grief doesn't end, it just changes shape. And then one night, on my balcony, overlooking the harbor, I asked, what would have happened if we just told the truth back then? She looked at me for a long time, then said, maybe we weren't ready for the truth. And I think she was right. We're not perfect now. She still keeps a suitcase packed in her closet. Says it's habit, not threat. I still flinch when the phone rings unexpectedly. But we're building something honest. And sometimes late at night when the world is still, I think back to that whisper. Stay, just tonight. And I realize it wasn't a request. It was a test, a challenge, a moment wrapped in trauma, daring me to choose presence over fear. I failed it once. I won't fail it again.